Welcome, Jesse. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. Been working my butt off all day, but we're going to get started here in just about a few seconds. I'm going to wait for, I got to double check a few things here now that we're live. Let me see. Okay, we're good there. All right, welcome. We're getting started here. We're getting warmed up. I hope you're ready for some change. I am. I'm ready for change. Are you guys ready? You ready for change, Jesse? More change? Greater change? All right. I'm not sure if Jim is going to be with us tonight. So I'm not sure if Jim's going to be here tonight. Oh boy, I had my phone off. I didn't realize it. Anyhow, welcome to our podcast number 226. We'll number this one number 226. And tonight we were going to, I'm not sure if Jim's going to be with us, but we were going to talk about this topic of addiction. We're going to get into addiction and see what's on your mind on the other side and how I may be able to help you take that next step. All right, I got a poem here I want to read to you guys. I got a special poem I want to read to you. So once again, welcome. This is your Hour of Power. Coach Santos here out of Stockton, California. We're going to be here for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes per se. We're going to be here for that long. Please ask your question. Please comment. If you've got a concern, you've got something going on, you're looking for a solution, you're at the right place at the right time. So we see Jim. All right, we've got a few people here. I don't know where you are. Come on. Where are you at in the chat? Welcome, Jim.
Hello, Santos. Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing super fantastic, terrific, over the top, man. Like clockwork. That's not to say that things are just, spit shine boot like we used to be in the Navy. We have to shine everything perfect, nice and no. It's just not that way. But it's good. I'm glad you're here. We're here. We're going to take on your subject. You talked about a subject. You were referring to addiction and food in the food industry. So we're going to let Jim kind of share a little bit of that with us. And so welcome, Jesse. People are just coming on and off. I imagine people are going to come on a little bit later. I do have a poem. By the way, this is Coach Santos. I might be repeating myself all the way from Stockton. There's Coach Teacher Jim out of Tucson, Arizona. And I think Jesse's in Fresno. I'm not sure. But before we get started, I do have a proverb. I'm going to read that in a little bit. And I've got a poem I want to read to all of us today here. And by the way, we are broadcasting. We're broadcasting via Twitter. We're broadcasting via Twitter and YouTube. We couldn't get on Facebook. We couldn't get on LinkedIn today. So here it is. All right. This is our hour of power, a spiritual renewal to set your mind on higher. Let's become a better fighter for what is right. What will lead us into freedom? Tight. So with all your might, get up early on Monday morning. There it is. So I hope you guys caught that one. All right, Jim, you had some thoughts on your mind. You were talking about addiction. Again, if there's a few people coming on and off, we may just end up doing the 30-minute program. That way we don't take up a lot of time. If nobody's, if the community's not, wherever the community is or guests, we don't have any control over that. All we can do is have control over what we can do. Be here again, episode number 226. I got to keep that in mind. We're talking about addiction. So Jim, share. I got a proverb coming up too pretty soon here. Go ahead, Jim. You're on the floor, man.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, let me turn that down a little bit. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was kind of intrigued by the idea of diet and fitness. And,
Okay.
I have certain goals, and I have a run that's going to be happening um, next Saturday. And, I was telling myself that, you do these exercises, you only eat these kinds of foods, and you stay away from these other kinds of foods. And I was telling myself in the back of my mind, oh, well, you know what? After that run, you can go back, you know? And I'm thinking to myself, you know, that doesn't seem really right because, I mean, if you're doing things to better yourself, why are you going back? Why are you going to allow yourself to have the permission to go back to things that are not good for you? Like, let's say, lack of exercise and eating bad foods. So I was thinking about that, and I thought, that doesn't seem right. And then it kind of got me into the idea of looking into like food addiction. I was thinking about food addiction. How food can really kind of be something that directs us in a. It's just another escape. It can be like a drug or like gambling, right?
Yeah.
I just observed and listened to some of these people who have food addictions, and it is really serious. I saw the people just couldn't control themselves. The food was particular foods were a trigger, and they couldn't stop. They couldn't help themselves. And I was thinking about, my gosh, I'm thinking about how serious addictions can be, whatever your trigger is, and it gives me more empathy towards people who are like have serious problems. I can't be dismissive. It teaches me not to be dismissive of the problems that people really have. It could be gambling, it could be alcohol, it could be substance abuse, it could be food. There's certain triggers that just people, it's difficult. And I know that in the 12-step program in addiction recovery, they talk about surrendering. And you talk about language, and and to me at first I thought the word surrender seems like a very weak word. It's not a powerful word, but I mean, I think what they mean when it means to surrender yourself, you don't have any power over your addiction. I think that just means that you shouldn't take it for granted. You shouldn't dismiss it as something that can cure itself. You need to take more of a proactive, a very disciplined, kind of like a very intentional way of addressing your addiction. You can't dismiss it. You can't say it's just going to go away by itself. And the lady said something kind of interesting. She said, I need to build my life around my recovery versus building my recovery around my life. Building my life around my recovery. When you build your life around your recovery, I mean, she was talking about if you had if your leg was amputated, right? I mean, you can't ignore that your leg is amputated. You really have to kind of work your lifestyle around that. I understand that we can all do things beyond you know that kind of thing, but it's something that we have to address if we're going to go ahead and live our best life. So I think it is very important for us to understand how dangerous addictions can be overall, how controlling it can be. If we understand it has this really big power over us, we have to be aware of it and respect that kind of power. Then we can kind of start taking intentional steps and modifying our life every day. When you get up in the morning, right? Until you go to sleep, there should be intentional steps that help you, you know, control yourself, control your mind, control your body from this addiction. Because it's an enemy. This enemy, it's an enemy, and I
Well, you,
guess we have to go and kind of treat it as such.
you mentioned surrender, Jim. You mentioned surrender. Let's take a look at that. Let's dig into this thing. You talked about it earlier, um, because it has 2 points. It has a negative and it has a positive. Surrender has a negative and it has a positive. Uh, Hi, John. Welcome to the podcast. If you have a question, please feel free to ask. So we're talking about surrender. We're talking about addiction here. What is positive about surrendering? Well, you said negative. You talked about negative. You said that surrendering, right? When we think about this, that it's has a negative a connotation to it. But what about how could surrendering be positive?
It could be in the case where when you say surrender, I mean, you're surrendering your, maybe you're surrendering your your denial, let's say. That denial that you don't have, you have a problem, you don't have a problem, I don't have a problem. That lie to yourself, I'm going to surrender that lie. I'm going to put that down. I'm going to go ahead and accept, yeah, I do have a problem. I'm going to go ahead and just lay it down. I'm going to go and I'm not going to lose that fight, putting up that front. I'm going to go ahead and admit, you know, I'm going to go ahead and tell myself, it's like, yeah, I did lie to myself all those times. I've been lying to myself. I've been lying to others. I'm going to go and surrender that. I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what? I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm surrendering, you know, and that could be good.
Well, well, when somebody surrenders, right? If you're a prisoner of war, it could be. I mean, it could go either way. It could go negative. It could go positive. I've been listening a little bit to the Ukraine and the Russians. They're taking in Ukrainian, soldiers that are surrendering, and they're giving them life. They're giving them something positive. They're not shooting them on the spot. They're not killing them. So I was just thinking about what you were saying earlier. We all have, every gambler, every individual, whether you're male or female, we all have to look at this. I'm glad that you brought this up because we should look at this word surrender. That's a major, major issue with most people. Major. You talked about that earlier. But there's a positive side that we don't look at often, or we should look at, we should investigate because it's very encouraging. Now, I said I wrote this note down as you were speaking, and we'll discuss this. Open it up. Hey, Pedro Ramirez. By the way, if you have a question, please feel free. Casinos are a scam. Yeah. So the positive result of surrendering, for instance, a problem gambler that comes to himself, somehow some miracle happens and he awakens. The positive is that even though surrendering is a negative, has a negative connotation, the positive is that you are rising instead of the snake. So you're surrendering in the fact that, like you said, you're giving in, you're acknowledging the fact. You're not, we don't want to acknowledge, I don't think we should acknowledge that we're powerless over these things. Um, you know, I think honestly, Jim, I think we have the mindset that we have today. I heard this. I believe it was Jim Rohn, or it might have been Zig Ziglar. He said the mind that got you to where you are today is not the mind that's going to get you to where you need to be. So, a positive is that you rise instead of the snake that's putting poison in you. So that's a big positive. How do you get yourself to surrender? What is it that needs to take place inside of your skull in order for you to realize, wow, you know what? Surrendering's not weak.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
Hi,
mean, like,
Angela. Go ahead. Hi, Angela. Nice to see you. Gambling is ruining lives. Yes.
yeah, certain words, surrender. I mean, you can go ahead and replace it with maybe letting go. You can go ahead and saying letting go, or even saying submit. I'm going to go ahead and submit myself to another way, you know, another path, another direction. I don't want this anymore. I'm going to let go of the denial. I'm going to go and let go of my self hatred, let's say. I'm going to start caring for myself, and I'm going to start taking some action that's actually going to be doing good for me. I'm going to go ahead and start taking steps that takes me out of that bad place, like the casino, or whatever the addiction is.
Well, it's the mindset, really. It's the mindset that, it's not, you said the casino, but obviously we know that it's the thought.
Hmm.
It's the thought that we surrender to the thought. Either you're surrendering to one thought or you're surrendering to another thought,
Hmm.
right? To the positive, where you're rising up, the snake that's putting poison inside you cannot defeat you. But if you surrender to the addiction, the snake is going to keep putting more poison in you. It's just going to keep putting, and then eventually the venom may take over completely and destroy everything you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, the mindset that got you into the problem, is not the mindset that's going to take you out of the problem. So I mean, it's like you have to let go of of those past preconceived ideas and thoughts and feelings. It's not working. It's not working. This lifestyle is not working for me. This habit, this behavior, you know you know these kinds of thoughts are not working for me. I have to let that go. It's not working. you know if I can
Get it?
just take out $1,000 more, let's say. you know if I can just do this, it'll be better. No, it's not going to be better. And I
Well,
guess.
the truth. The truth is, and Pedro, I thank you for asking. This is a good subject, Jim. I'm glad that you brought it up. We're talking about addiction here. The problem, Jim, sadly, most people are basically they're being run over. Most people are just being run over. Their mind is like mush. And sometimes I see that in my own life, but I recognize it, right? Because I'm always studying myself. So, you can't get everything done. You can't fix yourself all in 1 week or 1 year. You could be 5 years down the road and you catch something in your life. Wow. You didn't even know it was there. 5 years. You've been working on yourself, journaling, you're doing the self talk, the mirror talk, you're doing the deep breathing, you're doing all of these wonderful life hacks. But one Saturday, one Sunday, you wake up and you see something. So what I'm saying is, what I'm sharing here is my observation, right? My observation. And is there such a thing? I want to answer Pedro's question. Is there such a thing as gambling? There is gambling responsible. Some people can do that. Um, I I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Some people can, and because it's the mindset. It's the mindset. See, somebody responsible can go into a casino and say, you know what, I'm gonna spend $50, and when my $50 are gone, I'm out of here. Most gamblers don't think that way. They go into they go into the casino. They say to themselves on the way, "Yeah, I'm only going to spend $100, $200." But guess what? They spend 500. They spend 700. They're not like that person that said, "I'm going to go in there. I'm going to spend $50, and that's it. When my $50 are gone." But that individual, and I don't recommend this, that individual has to have a high level of discipline in his life, big time. Because the urge and the temptation, the energy, the force is so strong. I mean, it will overtake you. It'll overtake you. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. It shouldn't, but it can, right? That energy is a great energy, but the human spirit, the human soul is greater. I truly believe this. I believe that we are greater than any of these energies around us, these negative habits. The problem is that your mind is infected. And until you recognize that your mind is infected, you got to deal with your thoughts. So the addiction is behavior, but where does it come from? It comes from that thought that's going on. You're not surrendering. You're surrendering, but in the negative, into the negative. if that makes sense. So hopefully that answered your question there. I'm going to let Jim share here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. In
oh,
regards to responsible, I think it's important to know yourself.
yeah.
Anyone on this program probably has some type of issue, you know, and you don't want to be playing with snakes. You're just setting yourself up, because if you know yourself, if you do have some type of addiction problem, and you're truthful with yourself, you say, you know what, I shouldn't be messing with this stuff at all, and tell you the truth, you really shouldn't be caring about other people, because other people are different from you. You got to go ahead and know yourself and understand what your triggers are. If you know your triggers,
Yeah.
you know yourself. It's like I have this addictive personality where I can't stop. I can't stop doing this. Once I start, I've seen it before. I tried before. So one of the tools and mechanisms of being intentional about your living is I got to plan, my life so that I can avoid these places 100%, because, the probability, right? The chances are high that I'm just going to get sucked back into this addiction. I'm going to get sucked back into the addiction. Is that something that you want? You don't want that, if you really care about yourself.
Yeah, let me say, Angela, I hope you're here watching, Angela. You know, it's easy for you to say to Jim, you know, I'm going to let Jim kind of respond to that. But I just want to say this to you, Angela. If you're gambling and you're losing money, um, I feel bad for you, but I've been there. I've been there. I know what it's like to lose a lot of money. I know what it's like to hurt really bad. I know what it's like to, man, I've been there. So the thing is that you have to get a hold of yourself, because you know what? We're all being deceived in many different ways. So Angela, you've got the power, you've got the ability to do that within yourself. You just haven't tapped into it. That's what's happening. And I'm hoping that you hang around here. We can help you tap into that source, because I can guarantee you, Angela, that you're doing good in other areas. I hope you are. You're doing good in other areas. And if you can do good in those other areas, that tells me that you're capable of changing in the other area that's not up to par. You may have to draw some energy from that area, somehow tap into that good energy that you've got going on. I remember the Betty White story. The guy was a gambler. She wasn't a gambler. Betty wasn't a gambler. He was a gambler, but he was well known. He was a good coach. He held a good job. He was very disciplined. But man, when it came to gambling, and you know, where we hang out with, where we go, our environment, who we associate with, what we listen to is going to make an impact. Because I'll tell you, man, my mind was screwed up. My mind was very screwed up. I didn't believe in myself. I thought I was stupid. I didn't think I'd ever amount to anything. Uh, I felt just so little. I just felt so little and lost. And I don't feel little and lost. I may be little of stature. I don't feel lost anymore. I listened to a few people. I took some notes, and I said, I told myself, in fact, this is part of what I'm going to share with those of you that hang around. I started talking to myself, doing these life hacks, but I had some good talks with myself in front of the mirror. In front of the mirror. In front of the mirror. You can't run from the mirror. When you look into your eyes, you can't run from that. I mean, you're staring into your soul. You can get so deep in front of a mirror, it might even scare you. Honest truth. You can get so deep with yourself in a conversation in front of a mirror that you might frighten yourself. I have. I frighten myself, but I enjoy doing it. I'm not saying I enjoy frightening myself, but conversations with self in front of the mirror is a very, very powerful healer. It's a healer. It's a healer. Heler, healer. All right. So Angela, I send you belief. I hope that you'll take this belief and you'll take it to action, because I do this to myself every single day. So Jim, you can respond here. Let me see if there's anything else. Um, Hola. Hi, Natalie. Welcome. Good to see you. Let me
Yeah,
see.
in
It's one thing to lose bets, etc. Let me see before we go here. It's the rude, insensitive dealers, disrespectful pit bosses that add insult to injury. That is what ticks me off most. They are pure evil. Well, again, and a warning. This is if you have a problem with gambling over the next 6 to 12 months, the next 1 to 2 years, technology is going to run you over, my friend. Technology is going to run you over. The software is getting so sophisticated with these machines and all of that stuff. Over the next year or two, if you're still gambling, you might as well just start handing your paychecks over to these casinos, honestly, because they're going to get so good with these machines. And the thing is, it's become psychological. Now you're in a battle with the machine. Not with the casino, but with the software. The software can be taking over your mind. The software is not greater than you, by the way. It's not greater than you. It only becomes greater. The snake only becomes more poisonous as you allow it, if you allow it. Go ahead, Jim. Thank you
yeah,
for appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Go ahead, Jim.
yeah. I mean, like when you're trying to battle an addiction, the things that we say, yeah, it is easy, but actually it's difficult, really, to be dealing with this stuff.
Yeah.
It's especially difficult when you don't have a goal. When you don't have a clear goal. For me, you know, it's easy to run 7 miles today. You know, it's easy. It's easy to run up the mountain. It's easy to go on a diet because I have a certain goal, and I can believe that I can achieve it. I can believe I can achieve it. It's kind of painful, you know, and it does take discipline, but you know, I think it has something to do with hope. Do you have hope for yourself? And one of the things that I struggle with is like blaming demons outside of me. The real demons are in here and in here. Those are the real demons that I have to deal with. It's like I criticize everything outside, but I really should be kind of looking at my own criticisms, you know, my negative feelings, my negative energy, all that kind of stuff. And I should be questioning that kind of stuff. And I should be fighting and raging against that, and that's difficult. If you've been doing it for many, many years, it's hard. It's hard. And I can understand that, it's easy to say these things, but when your life has been, over and over again, poisoned with many thoughts of negative self-talk and negative talk about everything around you, you know, that kind of stuff, it's a mountain to climb. It's very difficult. And sometimes it feels hopeless. You can't get yourself out of that pit.
Yeah.
Could be that casino. You can blame the pit bosses. You can blame the dealers. But actually, it's like for myself, I would have to blame myself. I have to blame myself
Yeah.
because I put myself in that casino. I put my money down. I gave them the opportunity to take my money and make fun of me, and I have to go and be truthful to myself. I have to say, that's that guy. He's the bad guy in the mirror. That's the guy who caused the problem, and I also have
Yep.
to forgive myself. It's
Yep.
like you screwed up, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You know, I've learned that, I made a mistake. It's not doing well for my life. It's wrecking my soul. It's wrecking my pocketbook, you know, and I'm going to go and use this experience, this negative experience, you know, as a way to pull myself out of this mess. I don't want to blame. I don't want to, I don't want to blame. I have to take responsibility. Sometimes that's difficult, man. Especially in this age where, it's like it's everyone else's fault, man. It's everyone else's fault. It's the president's fault. It's the
Yeah.
immigrants' fault. It's this fault. It's that guy. It's the neighbor's fault.
let
You
me
know,
let me interrupt for a minute here, just for a minute. I'm picking up the energy here in in the text. We are broadcasting via Twitter, and I see that you're putting comments in. Kindly read my comments and solve my problem. I see that, and I see. Um, I hear Angela. I see all of you, Samaya. But folks, you know, if your mind is not made up, you're gonna battle. You're gonna battle. If you don't want to stop gambling, if you don't want to stop gambling, you should be honest with yourself and tell yourself that you don't want to stop gambling. But if you're struggling and you're losing money and it's affecting your family and your job, then you need to really pay attention to what's going on inside your head. Because you can come here, post a question, you can walk away with nothing. I know, Jim's obviously Jim is not me. I'm not Jim. We're different characters. And I'm really wanting to focus on your question. I know Jim brought the subject about addiction, and we're talking about this. So I offer coaching. I have coaching uh, available, right, for people that want to, for people that can't do it. If you can't do it up here, you've got an issue, you just can't figure it out. I can support you with coaching. I know for a fact that we can figure it out. For a fact. That's my belief because I'm doing it. You on the other side, if you struggle with believing or you struggle with you need to get somebody to support you. A tool, a book may be good, but you may need the touch of a human being by your side to help you. It's like the soldier that's wounded. It's what we learn. You got to pick up your soldier, pick him up and drag him, whatever you do, until he gets better.
Santos. When I was watching the people talk about food addiction, and these people really struggled with their weight, and it's a very overt problem, right? Because when you have that kind of eating disorder, that food addiction, it's very visible, okay, and you can't hide from it. You can't hide it from other people. Gambling and all these other kinds of addictions that are out there, sometimes they're secret. They're hidden. Only that you have a problem, and sometimes that's the worst kind of problem. I was thinking, because it can be hidden and it can be very shameful to ask for help, right? I mean, we hide it because it's very shameful to us, and we just hide it. We hide it. We hide it, and sometimes the biggest thing is asking for help. Asking for help, it's like admitting it to other people. I mean, I understand that's a challenge right there, because no one wants to, look like a person who's weak, but in a way that's very strong of the person, to go ahead and ask for help, you know
You know, you know, I've been, and I'm going to share this with you guys. In fact, I shared this with Jim some time ago. We were thinking about a program, and I know you folks. Listen, I appreciate the money that you give, a few donations that you give. I truly appreciate that. It goes towards the mission. I truly want to help you on the other side. I don't know if you really hear my heart, like inside my soul, my spirit. Maybe you're just hearing my words. But I want you to hear my soul, my spirit. You're talking to somebody that's got himself free. I was such a mess. and I got myself free, and I stay free. Sounds like a woman's commercial there. Stay free, huh? So I know for a fact that you on the other side, I hear you. You're losing money. You don't trust the pit bosses, and there's 5 casinos in the area. Uh, there's all kinds of things going on. But my friend, partner, if you don't figure out what you want, if you don't figure out what you want and write it down somewhere on a card, on a notebook, so that it goes into your mind, into your subconscious. See, I'm giving you want to know how to get free from gambling? Listen to my advice right now. Please listen to my advice right now. And this is just a little bit that you can do and add to something else. Write out your vision. What do you want? You want to make an extra $50 a month? You want to make $2,000 a month? How much are you making now? Okay, I want to make $3,500. Okay, write that down. Write that down. Where do you want to live? Right? What is it that you want to overcome? Okay, write that down. Write it down. What is it that you want to overcome? You want to break through. You want to stop doing this. Write it down. Write it down. Carry a notebook with you. Open it up when you're driving. Well, not when you're driving, but you don't stop at traffic. Open it up, read. Put some notes in there. If you can't carry a book, carry a little piece of paper that you fold in your pocket and write it is what you want, and let that repeat it to yourself, so that you begin to focus on that, and your mind begins to give you the ideas, the resources, and the energy so that you can get those things in your life. If you don't do that, what's going to happen is your brain is going to focus on the evil. It's going to protect the evil. Your brain will protect the evil. And how are you going to fight that? How are you going to fight when your brain's taken over? You can't. You can't. You have to get to that place, at least acknowledge. And of course, your brain, we've seen people where their brain is taken over completely, and they're out on the street today. I've seen the young people, old people. I thought, man, look at that young guy, man. Good looking guy, homeless. You can tell he's good looking, right? But he's all dirty, hair matted up. What happened to that guy, man? What got into his head that he followed it? And now look at him, the way or the woman. I remember a couple of months ago talking to this one woman. I don't know if she was Middle Eastern, young woman, very attractive woman, light skin, real nice hair, homeless. I'm like, wow. So I hope that you hear my soul. I know we're coming to the end pretty soon here. I hope that you hear my soul and my spirit, because listen, and you asked about coaching, Pedro. You can find out more about coaching in my at my Soldiers of Self Mastery website. But here's what I want to share with you. We may end up doing something like this, because I know for a fact that until I paid for coaching in my own life and I bought tools and different things, I put money. Instead of giving the money to the casino, I started investing in myself, coaching, books, whatever it was, for me to get ahead in life. Until you're willing to do that, nothing's going to change. So I had to use money, my own money, whatever I could, because coaching is like, how's coaching going to help me? Well, think about this. Think about this for a moment. If you have a second set of eyes and ears, right? If you had 4 eyes, could you see better? What if you had 4 ears, 4 sets of ears, right? You have 2 bodies. You can do more with 2 bodies, right? Even just physically. A coach is there to help you achieve your goal. That's what a good coach will do. A good coach, one goal, right? You sit with a coach, 1 goal, not 5. Sometimes we come in here, we go wrong. 1 coach, 1 goal. You achieve that, and then you go to the next one. That's what coaching is. And coaching is for 90 days. I don't coach 2 or 3 sessions or 4 sessions. 90 days, and that's it, because that's where the transition takes place. So I'm serious about change. I'm serious about helping you on the other side. If you're committed, you can check out, soldiersofselfmastery.com. I'll be upfront with you. It is a commitment. Listen, if you're giving $5,000 a month to a casino or $3,000, you could take a smidgen of that and get coaching. Anyways, I'll leave it there. So thank you once again for the donations. I appreciate all of you. Again, come here with notes. You want to learn how to, Sumaya, Angela, Pedro, come here with notes, man. Listen, your mind is powerful. Your mind is giving you guys thoughts. And I guarantee you didn't write them down. I guarantee you didn't write them down. So next time you come to the broadcast, bring a pen. Because your mind, not mine. Oh, Jim and Santos. Don't worry. You're probably smarter than we are. Who knows what you're capable of doing? I know we have a truck driver. I would not step into the truck driving field. Man, I talk about fear. I do face my fears, but I'm not going to drive a truck. So my hat's off. Much respect to truck drivers. But truck drivers shouldn't be gambling either. So anyhow, there's my piece. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about journaling. I think I would encourage people to, if you really want to help yourself, you do what Santos says, journal. You got to go and start doing some metacognition. You got to really start thinking about what you're thinking about. Like Joe Biden says, think about what you're thinking about, right? Think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you're feeling. It's like, really, I mean, it's like, oh, that Jim pisses me off. What is he saying? That's Santos, he's pissing me off about what he's saying. Why? Why are we pissing you off? Really get honest with yourself. Where is this anger? Where is this frustration? Where are these thoughts and feelings coming from? Be honest with yourself. Write that down. Jim pissed me off because, he said this. Why does this piss me off? Why does this make me angry? What does this tell me about myself? What does this tell me about how I view the world? What does it speak to my philosophy, of doing things? Do I agree with it or do I not agree with it? Is it working for me or is it not working for me? What kind of things that they're saying, works? What kind of stuff doesn't work? Why doesn't it work? All these things, we should start like analyzing our thinking. We should be analyzing our emotions, because all these kinds of things plays a part into whether you're going to go ahead and go to that casino or you're going to go ahead and not go to the casino. I mean, it really starts with yourself. You got to get to know yourself, why you think the thoughts that you're thinking, why you're feeling the feelings you're having. Take an inventory one day, journal. It's like have it like an emotional and a thought journal. What happened? What were the triggers? Why did I get so angry? Why did I get so scared? Where is this all coming from? Right? Where is this all coming from? And what did it have me do? Caused me to eat a lot, caused me to go to the casino, caused me to drink. Pinpoint these triggers, and that's how you start getting a hold of your life, a handle on your life.
That's how you get a handle. Put a handle. In fact, I put a handle on my door. 2 cheap handles. Sometimes you got to get 2 handles on your life. Like the door. 1 handle don't work. Get 2. Get 2 handles on your life. Let me read a proverb. Somebody said, hey, find a church or whatever. Listen, I don't advocate church. I do promote reading the Bible and prayer. That I do. I've seen a lot of stuff go on in churches. You have to, if that's what you need, if that's what you feel you need to do, then you go off and do that. But bottom line, what we're talking about in this arena, in this environment, is basically the fact that you have to really get a hold of what's going on up here. Knowing yourself, understanding who you are, spending time with yourself, just thinking. That's what we're doing here, right? We're thinking, what am I doing here? Well, I'm here because I want to get better. Better at what? Better at life. Better at making business. Better at helping others generate income. A lot of people want to generate income. People don't even know how to generate income today. You can't even trust people today because everybody's getting burned. But you have to continue going. You have to continue going. Let me read this proverb because we're getting close to the end here. We're almost at the hour. Isaiah 48:17. For you religious folks, I'm religious too. I just don't go to church. And I won't go to church. I don't need to go to church. I am the church. Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord thy God, which teacheth thee to profit, which leadeth thee by the way that thou shouldest go. Now I like that. He teaches me to profit. He teaches me, he leads me by the way. So sometimes I'm going in a direction that I don't understand. I'm gambling. Is that God leading me in that direction? God's
Santo,
not a gambler, but sometimes we go through stuff to wake up, you know?
it's interesting, Santos. When you're doing what is right, when you're taking action on what is right, it's amazing. You feel closer to God if you're religious. You really feel like you're walking closer to God. When you're doing the right thing, you're taking these steps. And I think if you get into that habit of little by little doing the right things for yourself, you can actually have that feeling, that good feeling, you know, that will transcend those cheap emotional thrills that you get from your addictions. It's like this is much more appealing. But it takes action, it takes effort, it takes energy. It just doesn't happen. It takes money, it takes action to give you a call to get coaching. It takes effort to make a plan and follow through with the plan, right? I mean, it doesn't happen by itself. Yes, it's you have to face your fears. We talk about surrendering. You got to surrender to a process. Coaching. You got to surrender your pride. You know, surrender your pride. You know what? I'm going to go and swallow my pride, and I'm going to go and get some help. I'm going to go ahead and create a plan. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to forgive myself. That takes a lot of courage right there. It takes
Let me
effort, it takes energy.
let me share something here. I notice there's people sometimes. There's a proverb that says that uh, the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The kisses of an enemy are deceitful, but faithful are the wounds of a friend. Faithful are the wounds. Some of you guys are getting wounded in here, but you're not recognizing why the wound is. Let me tell you something. I go to acupuncture. I started doing acupuncture and I realized, why am I going to acupuncture? I didn't realize this until I went into acupuncture. You've got a problem with your body part, so they stick a needle in you and they make it bleed and they cause a trauma there. So they're actually wounding you to cause blood to circulate. They wound you and then the healing begins to take place. And I hear you. I used to be the same way. I used to hate when I was gambling, when I enjoyed gambling, when I enjoyed losing money and making a fool of myself, because that's exactly what I did. I made a fool of myself. I didn't want anybody to talk to me about it. I didn't want to hear it. I got around somebody that was maybe even religious of some sort, or to start I felt like my skin was burning, like I was next to the fire. So, those of you that are here, you feel like maybe I don't have anything against any of you. In fact, I wish that all of you could be where I am, completely free. But I know that you're not, because you're not taking the necessary steps. So, yeah, you're going to feel hurt. You're going to feel wounded. Maybe something Jim said or something I said. It's going to happen, folks. It happens every single day. But keep this in remembrance, okay? An enemy will kiss you. An enemy will make you feel really good. But behind that kiss, there's something very, very ugly. There's poison. Just like gambling. Gambling's a great kiss. Saturdays, Sundays, Friday nights. But then when the hurt kicks in, you recognize it, right? Oh, that whatever. So what am I saying here to close this program? We're here for you. I'm here for you. I don't coach for free because I've tried to do that and it doesn't work. I've tried to coach people for free. And what did they do? They wouldn't. Now, I've coached people for free and I've coached people that actually paid me for my service, right? For my results. They got more out of it. I got more out of it. The people that wanted me to coach them for free because I was trying to be a nice guy, I'm coaching them for free and they're in the casino spending $4,000 a month. I said, no more. I can't help people like that. I love to help people, but man, the only way that you have to face it. You have to confront it, and money is a big deal. So you may have to use money to pay for a counselor, pay for a coach, pay for a psychiatrist, or whatever it is. You may have to use your money instead of giving it to the casinos. Straight talk, folks. I care about you guys. Listen, I don't have a problem with casinos. I can walk through a casino. I've done it. I've kicked this thing. I've kicked this thing so far into space, it has no way of coming back into my life. And that's the mission. That's the mindset that I want to put inside of you, to be able to kick this thing so far into outer space, man. You don't think you can. I know you can. Until you do it, you won't know. Till you make up your mind and say, you know what? I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight like Mike Tyson. I'm going to fight like Manny Pacquiao. I'm going to fight like Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. I'm going to fight, not like physically, but you're going to fight inside yourself. You're going to prove something to you, right? Not to me, not to Jim. You're going to prove something to yourself. Let that be the challenge. Let that be my call to action. Prove it to yourself, and I'm saying this in a loving way, not in a bad way, but because ultimately you're the one that needs to prove it to yourself. You try to prove it to somebody else, doesn't work. Nope. So, all right. My call to action is basically get some time in front of a mirror, do some deep breathing. Take deep breathing during the week, couple of breaths, deep breaths. Hold them in, let them out, couple of deep breaths, and get in front of the mirror and encourage yourself. Have a conversation with yourself. What do you want to see? Where do you want to go? We're going into a new year pretty soon. Get into that. Encourage, motivate, and like Jim said earlier, right? You got to get to know who you are. Spend some time in front of the mirror. You'll get to know who you are. I promise you that. 4 or 5 sessions in front of the mirror, you talking to yourself for at least 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. That'll make some changes. So, okay, Jim, I'm going to give you let me see. You quit gambling without, let me see. Who's that? You quit gambling without hiring a coach? No, I've had coaches. I've paid, I've invested in coaches in my last couple of years, probably about, I would say about $12,000 to $13,000 I've invested into myself. About $12,000 to $13,000, probably more. So I do that because I know it's an investment. Instead of waiting 5 years to learn something, or 10 years, you can learn something in 3 months or 2 months. To me, that's worth paying for. So yes, I've paid. I've bought a lot of books. I've been to seminars, all kinds. I've been ripped off by people, taken advantage. So yeah, I've gone through to learn to where I am today, so that I don't get taken advantage of in those kinds of ways as I was before. So I do have materials. We have a coaching program. In fact, we have GABA. If you're interested in that, that's completely affordable digital program. You get 1 coaching session with me in that. You have digital videos that will take you from point A, how to stop, how to change the way you think, how to handle your money, how to handle temptation. It's all there on the website. It's like 5 or 6 videos. It's called GABA, the Gambling Addictions Advanced Boot Camp. So there's all kinds of tools. There's a book, new book, the red book, the little red book. That's new. We do have the emails that go out. I might be changing that. But this is something that I wanted to share with. I may, depending on how things go, I may close this open session and turn it into a private session, where we can get a little bit deeper. And that's not going to be, well, I'm not going to say yet, but it may be completely private, and it's going to be one-on-one camera, because there's a lot of you're right, there's a lot of negativity in here, and you can't really see faces and stuff like that. It's hard to really understand what people, because you can't see the eyes, right? The eyes never lie. So with that said, I do want to thank all of you guys. I'm going to let you, Jim, share last here. So listen, my stories on YouTube, you want to learn all about me, you can learn all about, I've got many videos. So with that said, Santos, I'll bet you'll be gambling pretty soon. Okay, Ken, you're obviously you don't know the strength of the human spirit, and you definitely don't know me. Sumaya, thank you for hanging out. John Lennon, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate that. Just a guy. Laura, be safe out there. Mark, be safe out there. Jesse, thank you for being a part of this. Here, Pedro, thank you for, again, I've offered people don't take me up. Send me an email. I've got tools. I've got different things. People come in here and they say they want help, but they won't do the work. It's sad, man. And, again, that's the reality of people are just going downhill. Gamblers are going downhill. That's the truth. I've seen it. I'm seeing it more and more. It's evident. It's sad. But Angela, let me see who else was here. Just a guy. Pedro. There was a few other people. Mark, Laura, John Lennon, Sumaya, Teen. Yeah, there we go. Natalie. Natalie's probably gone. Teen Patty. Yeah, wants me to make magic. Read my comments and make magic. Well, I can make magic if you take the pen. Here's magic right here. Put this. Try it for 7 days. Start journaling for 7 days. That's my prescription to you. You want to get through this, right? You want to overcome? That's how I did it. One of the ways that I did it. I also used electronic affirmations. You want to learn about electronic affirmations? That'll help you big time too. Big time. Electronic affirmations. But hardly anybody comes back. They don't come back and send me an email. So that tells me that. All right. With that said, yeah, I don't want to be any more negative. I'm going to continue. I'm going to have a super fantastic, terrific over the top Monday. I'm ready to hit this week hard, generate income, develop the spirit, and just get better up here, even with the messy hair and stuff like that. I've been working all day painting. So you can see in the background painting my office and stuff. So go ahead, Jim.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look.
I'm done.
Basically, we're here to help ourselves and help other people. We're actually looking for the people who believe. If you don't believe in yourself, I don't think you're going to be believing in what I say, what Santos says. No matter what we say, no matter what strategies we have, no matter what experiences, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't decide and commit to improving your life, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. So, I mean, we can give the strategies, we can give the tools, we can give the advice and encouragement and the perspective, right? But it's going to be the person in the mirror who's going to make that decision. Okay. All right. Santos, we care about you. We want you to do your best. We want you to get over your addiction. Addiction sucks moose balls. Like you say, Santos, it sucks moose balls, big hairy moose balls. Right. So, yeah, take action, take energy, believe in yourself, and surrender to a process, and
surrender.
Process.
Yep, that's the key there. Surrender. I surrender. Yeah. Let that warrior spirit come out of you. So, thank you for hanging out. Thanks, Jim, Tucson, Arizona. I am Santos out of Stockton, Cali, founder here of the Soldiers of Self-Mastery Movement. Visit Soldiers of Self-Mastery right there. That link flows every single weekend right there. So we'll be back here 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hopefully you'll be here. Hopefully you'll be doing better. Hopefully you won't have any more losses. I don't know. I know I won't. So with that said, take action, and I'll see you at the top on the inside on my next one. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Santos. Have a great week. Take care.
You too, buddy.
See you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
All right.